Hello everybody, I'm Martin. Welcome to another episode of Minecraft Enigmatica 2 Expert. Today, we're finally going to stop stalling and go start into Draconic Evolution, and finally get the last chapter unlocked that we need to be able to open up the bragging rights chapter, and finally get started on the end game where I regret everything about this series. So we have everything open other than that and Psi, which we'll get to at some point, although I probably won't progress deeply into it, except for what's necessary for the bragging rights. But for Draconic Evolution, what we need to do is make a Draconic core. And we finally have all of the bits to do it. We need draconium blocks, which we've gathered a small amount of from the Twilight Forest and other places. We need a plutonium ingot, which we finally made the extreme reactor for last episode. So I've got tons of cyanite now, which I can turn into the plutonium ingot, and we'll discuss that in a minute. Some elite plating, which is it's not easy, but we've got it all automated at this point. A dislocator, which is not too bad to make and uses up a decent amount of draconium dust, but we already have a couple in storage from loot chests, so that's a kind of a non-issue. And then some litherite, which we've got a bunch of from our void miner, and then a genetics processor, which I've got automated and is all relatively simple. We need to talk about the plutonium ingot because I haven't been feeling well the last couple days, so I've made some changes around my base instead of actually filming an episode because I haven't been able to talk very well. I'm probably extra nasal today too. But if you look down inside my applied energistics lab, you can see that I've made quite a bit of changes. I had a whole bunch of controllers in here to make a giant ring to attach things to so that I can expand it if I need to, which I'm going to at some point in the near future. Coming into my main automation lab, you can see that I sorted out my metallurgic infusers down here finally, and I added the automated engineer's work table from Immersive Engineering to make vacuum tubes so I can make the ME controllers automatically. This was a gigantic pain in the butt. I'm going to be clear on this. I don't want to make more of these if I can avoid it, but I'm almost certainly going to have to. When you put these together, you're going to be putting down 2 treated wood slabs right here and here. And what the instruction manual doesn't tell you how to form the structure, and it doesn't tell you what you need to click to do it. So to get it to form, you actually need to use the hammer on the middle slab right here, and you need to click the side of it, not the top of it or anything else. Otherwise, it's not going to work. It took me longer to sort that out than I want to admit to, so I figured I'd bring it up in case somebody else runs into this. Coming into my secondary lab for actual additions, you can see that I started stacking up empowers too, and I'm just going to raise them up in a column like this to do the various empowered crystals. I specifically needed a Palace crystal, which is why we're in here, to make the plutonium ingots. And this was part of automating that whole process. And having set all of that up, now I have the Draconic core made. I'm not going to lie, the elite plating was the hardest part about that at this point, just because I didn't have everything on hand or automated completely yet. So coming here, we can take a loot chest. Oh, and we're going to pull a bull of the Wyvern out of it, apparently. That could be decent. Seems awfully coincidental, though. And now I've got to admit that I am not familiar at all with Draconic Evolution. It's one of the 2 mods in this pack that I'm completely unfamiliar with. So I suppose let's come in here, and since we already have a dragon heart, let's claim this and continue forward. As well as clicking the checkbox, and getting the draconium ingot one, which we already have too. And now seeing where things lie. Might as well pop these open too while we're sitting here. Range collector, decent. And an angel block that we don't need. Well, I officially regret opening up this chapter because this is where things start getting scary apparently. Possibly more scary than I was anticipating. So no matter which way we go here or here, we pretty much need to go build an advanced carpenter. We could use the normal one, but for this one it wouldn't be too bad. But the other one here requires 10,000 destabilized redstone. So we're going to want to process that quickly. So I guess we're going to start by making that, and that is pricey. Let's just say that, because just to make the blueprint for this requires a 64K ME fluid storage component and a fluid assembler, which isn't all that hard. It's just tedious. So let me go set up some automation, I guess. Well, this is completely horrifying to make. Just take a look at that list. Most of it shouldn't be too bad to make, but I don't know what that processor that's bugged out at the bottom is. But I guess I've got a bunch of pieces to make and a bunch more ingots to make. Thankfully, I've already got the advanced metallurgic thingamabobber to make the ingots with now. Alright, so I got the advanced carpenter made. I put it over here. This was a lot easier this time than when I made the metallurgic fabricator, because that made automating all of the blocks for this really simple. I also wired this up to my A2 system. If you look in the corner there, you can see the ME interface right there. I have cables hidden under facades and a wireless adapter sitting under the floor right around here, somewhere in the middle. That's the only thing I have wired up to in this room so far, but we have this set up. Hiding around here in the back, I have a melter constantly eating full redstone blocks. and feeding it into the input hatch so this is full at all times. Because the reason we even made this was to do the Wyvern energy core, which takes 10,000 destabilized redstone at a time, no matter which version we're using. So now we just have to slap a draconic core in there and see how this works. I just wish I didn't have to go to the back of the machine to do this. I suppose I could wire this up more efficiently. And it popped out almost immediately. So that's the first step that I've personally actually done in Draconic Evolution, and that leads us to the basic relays, which we've gotten all of these from quest rewards so far. So that's good, I suppose. I should probably figure out how those actually work though, huh? Because they might actually be useful in situations like this. I suppose the next thing to do is get an easy one out of the way, and that's the crystal binder, which is the basic tool for setting up the relays. No real surprises here. Okay, so that took me like 30 seconds instead of like an hour to set up that. Does this combine with the morphing tool? It does not. Okay, so what I ultimately want to be able to do is get to the Awakened Draconium Ingot, because that unlocks other stuff, but it is gated by the Wyvern Fusion Crafting Injector, so we appear to have to come through this way. And unfortunately, we're actually hard locked right here, because I didn't look far enough ahead. Because looking into the Wyvern core, I thought I had everything we needed, because it's, you know, shulker shells, another star, ludicrite ingot, which we can make, but it's not easy, because it can be made in a Carpenter, similar to plutonium. But all of this we have. And then there's the primal mana, which is complicated, but it's nothing we can't do. It's IC2 coolant, Oscilloglass, and Mirion. And Mirion sounds like it's a weird one, but the reality is, because we have the Metallurgic Fabricator, we can just do it with Mana Steel, Adamantium, and Terra Steel, and some glass. What I didn't count on, however, was the Palladium, which requires a tier 3 void miner. That thing I've been avoiding upgrading that we really need to do. So instead what we're going to do is continue up on the power transfer, because this actually does look doable, because these are just upgraded versions of the normal ones with more cores, and we just had to make more cores, which is doable, just expensive. So give me a little bit to get the pieces together. Well, I got the relays made, but now I'm actually hard blocked on multiple fronts for Draconic Evolution, because I'm almost out of draconium dust, which means I need to go to space, or I need to go drop the miner all over the Twilight Forest. Probably better off just going to space. And to go any deeper in the pack, I need to unlock some of the machines later in Draconic Evolution. So instead, I think we're going to go do a bonus, and we're going to start on the bragging rights, because it turns out there's one staggeringly easy one in there. And that's coming in here. While this isn't officially unlocked, these ones are. In here, well, most of these are pretty hard, require ultimate crafting, usually of something completely absurd, although this one isn't too bad itself if we had the table unlocked. But the Creative Builder's Wand is just the basic table and a bunch of Builder's Wands. So I guess let's do this. And now we can officially say we started the bragging rights section. And I'm going to go grab the small number of loot boxes we got. Okay, let's see what level of garbage we get from Draconic Evolution. Again, don't need that. Decoration I've never seen before, huh? And more free casings. So all in all, not that amazing, but we finally have started edging closer to the end game, although now I'm completely blocked, and now we need to go tail off into some other topics. But we knew this was coming, because I've got a lot to go. As always, I'm Ard. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.